pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice. Good morning, pineapple. Looking very good, very nice.
I love Wikipedia. Before it, all we had were these encyclopedias. These were expensive and out of date as soon as we bought them.
Wikipedia, on the other hand, begins with a very radical idea.
Jimmy Wales came up with the idea for a web-based encyclopedia. He's a libertarian, and Wikipedia is a libertarian idea because it gets its facts through spontaneous order, like a school of fish, a flock of birds, ice skaters. There's no leader. All posts are crowdsourced, user-generated.
All the editing is done by volunteers. People are always asking, well, who's in charge of this or who does that? And the answer is anybody who wants to pitch in.
Lots of us were skeptical. The user who visits Wikipedia visits a public restroom, a Britannica editor sneered. But a few years later, when Wales came to New York to talk to us about Wikipedia, it was clear his idea had won. They no longer print encyclopedias.
Yeah, that's right. And it's a bit sad in a way. I love the old encyclopedias. I love Britannica. But I love candles too, but I sure wouldn't give up my electric light.
Today, Wikipedia is the 9th most used website in the world. Millions rely on it. Great. But sadly, Wikipedia's other founder, Larry Sanger, now says, when it comes to today's political pages...
That's not education, that's propaganda.
Propaganda for the left-leaning establishment? That's upsetting. I donated to Wikipedia. Do leftists really now control the editing? It is all done by volunteers, obsessive people like John Weiss. He's called a top 100 Wikipedian because he's made hundreds of thousands of edits, mostly about sports and entertainment, subjects he just knows about. When did The Sopranos first come out?
1999.
What year did Rocky come out?
1976.
Without hesitation.
It makes sense that there would be a significant number of libertarians, or shall we call them Tylenol Americans. That's what they'll call us these days. Good morning. Don't I always start your morning with a smile? And a joke, typically at my own expense. Glad to have you here, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All my fellow Tylenol Americans. It's Tuesday, October the 8th. If your alarm clock didn't wake you up, guess what? AP's here. It's time to finish the job. All right, wake up, wake up. Click the like button. Subscribe to the channel by clicking follow. It's totally free. We're the only morning show with more facts than your AI chatbot, more facts than your congressman, and just slightly fewer indictments than a Trump family Christmas card. Speaking of indictments, James Comey. We're not going to hit James Comey or Jack Smith today if that's your thing. I think other outlets could probably cover those stories better. But nobody can talk about Wikipedia better than me. I've got a Wikipedia page. Did you know that? I have a Wikipedia page, and it sucks. It's full of shit, lies, slander, bullshit that people slung at me over the years. The edit wars alone, you don't want to know. If you don't want to know what the edit wars, the back end of Wikipedia is like, you don't want to know. It's a terrible place. And it is run by leftists. And it's sad because it was started by libertarians, but I think it's a perfect example of why we need a new libertarian nationalism that fights back. And we're going to talk about that at the end of the show today. And yes, the judge will be here today on the Wake Up America show. We're going to have a fantastic discussion. Kim McCurry, St. Selma, Thormock, you're going to be hanging on the edge of your seats. We're going to have serious discussions today. We're going to have some silly sessions today. We'll make you laugh. We'll make you cry. And hopefully the crying will be because of the laughing. So let's do it. Wikipedia, more like Wokepedia. Let's kick things off with the digital cathedral of the left today. Wikipedia, Elon Musk graciously named it Wokepedia. Very good one. This is the supposedly natural encyclopedia that lets anonymous editors with anime profile pictures rewrite reality one footnote at a time. And here's the kicker. They have been doing this to me too. My own Wikipedia page has been a civil war with ideological hall monitors all fighting each other, right? Well, oh, is he a libertarian nationalist? He's an atheist. Is he agnostic? Is he this? Is he that? They're all trying to like pin down my philosophical underpinnings and reason. They're finding like the least charitable quotes pulled from articles to describe me and my lifestyle and my living situation. I mean, here I am. I'm living large. I've had a great life. And are they going to talk about like some of my exploits, some of my great crusades? No, they're going to say Austin lived behind a Midtown Quick Trip like I was the dumpster or something. They're going to take the least charitable quote from Matt Fart over at Reason Magazine. The end of the show today, we're going to talk about the end of the era of think tank libertarians. Now comes the rise of libertarian statesmen. And yes, there will be a state, and yes, there will be a government. No, God! And yes, we will use the word libertarian, and yes, we will use the word nationalism. I know, they're freaking out over here, man. Just wait until my speech next week in Denver, Colorado. People are scraping and scratching to get tickets. And if you can make it to Denver that weekend, you should come and you should meet me. And just please do not shoot me in the throat. If anybody knows any good security guards, I don't need you to worry about my front, even though that's where Charlie Kirk got shot from. I'll do my best to defend myself, but I gotta have somebody watching my back out there in Denver, Colorado. I'm not scared of the libertarians. I don't think the libertarians, these are like peaceful goodness. They're all going to be high. It's not the libertarians necessarily I'm afraid of getting shot in the neck from. Although maybe if Candace Owens fans show up, then, the paranoid schizophrenics of the right show up, then I might have to worry about taking a bullet. But I just need somebody out there who can watch my back from the insane social democrats, the Occupy Democrats. I'm so busy fighting off the waves of all the conspiracy schizoids on the right that I just got done fighting all of the conspiracy schizoids of the left from Occupy Democrats page. How's your shoe business, Austin? The tariffs, you voted for this. Meanwhile, Trump's looking at maybe furloughing federal employees, and I'm like, I got hit with tariff bill, and I'm sure it hurt my business, but bitch, I did own the libs. The libs are being owned, baby. I don't get everything that I want. I don't get everything that I want from my marriage. Do you get everything you want from your marriage? Do you think you're going to get more from your president than you get from your marriage? Life is about reality, bitches. Welcome to the libertarian nationalist movement. We are fully awake, not woke. Dadbod Baboon says, and the regular person can't edit Wiki. True. You have to be approved in order to be one of them. Correct. Crowder did a story on it. You have to answer questions in a certain leftist way to be approved. Yes, it's like what my brother had to do when he was trying to apply for a job at a university. It's hell. It's leftist hell. It's totalitarian. The left has mastered their march through the institutions, the long march through the institutions. Google that phrase. Don't Wikipedia it. But look up that institution, look up that phrase, the long march through the institutions. It's time we had our own long march through the institutions. How about a forever march through the institutions? And here's something I know libertarians aren't going to like. How about a forever war on the institutions? A forever war. Is that one that you could like? Was there ever a war that libertarians liked? How about the war for our minds? How about the war for our freedoms? Say no more of liberty without responsibility. Can I get an amen, please? Can we please get some responsible people out there? Who's qualified to lead these things? Merit? Courage? What virtues qualify people for leadership in the nation that is the United States? And it'll be a great nation, but only if people like Matt Unruh, John Rail, Frickety, and Relaxium McGroin get up, because how can our groins be relaxed if we don't have Relaxium McGroin? We need hard penised libertarians. No more limps, says Frickety. True. No more soft penised debutantes for any Robert California fans out there. Where else are you going to hear jokes like that in the morning? Make you laugh, start your day. You're going to be informed. I'm going to share news stories with you today that you're not going to hear on other shows. It's just that I'm not going to be like, serious, like, dude, look me in the eyes. Like, am I crazy like you want it, huh? Well, maybe I kind of am actually a little bit crazy like you want it. So that's why you click the follow button. If today's your first time here and you're like, this guy's kind of strange, but I kind of like it. Yeah, if you do, click the follow button. We love America, but we drink a little. Not in the mornings. Steffi for Liberty is here, my smoking hot, sweet, red-headed libertarian wifey. You look kind of cute. You get to hang out with my family. We have Freedom Family Friday. The judge is going to be here at 8 a.m. Central Time. We're going to talk to him about this court case, about women's sports, the transgenderism issue. It's the judge really, he doesn't usually care for subjects like these. They always kind of make him uncomfortable. He doesn't really like the gender stuff. I don't think he likes the culture war stuff. But I mean, I got to ask him about it because he's the judge and it's a legal issue. And I want to make sure that you guys hear from a strict, ANCAP libertarian view of things so you can feel right. The judge, my ideological, he used to call me the right side of his brain. And these days, I think we are disagreeing on more issues perhaps than we used to, mostly of foreign policy, but I still have great respect for the judge. And we have a great relationship and a working relationship, and we always have. The judge loves this country too, more than, can you imagine? Imagine a country. It's one thing I like to think about. If libertarians and conservatives were the ones who were in charge, let's say that instead of Republican and Democrat parties, you had a libertarian and a Republican party, and there's no Democrats or socialists and communists. Wouldn't that be a better America? Now imagine those two parties if you know what an anarcho-capitalist is. If you know what a minarchist is, imagine if the two political parties were anarcho-capitalist parties and the fight was over how much, heroin the 5-year-olds are going to. Okay, end caps. Those who know, you know. Just don't throw my gun in the garbage, guys. CO Day's here with us. He's bringing the pineapples. It's a pineapple before party. Too easy, swift justice. She's guaranteeing that we're going to have a good day today. And how do I know it's a she? Because she says, I hope everyone has a good day today. And girls are nice and boys are mean. Just kidding. I don't know. Maybe it is boy. We're so glad and thankful to have BB for Liberty here because when he's cutting clips like that in the chat and you do what he does, we're all working together, pulling the same direction. You want to join a libertarian nationalist movement, you got to get active in your communities. And we've built a digital community here. And yeah, there are millions of digital communities, but this one is ours. This is my rifle. This is my flag. This one's for shooting. This one's for something that rhymes with flag. All right. So the Wikipedia, this is the supposedly neutral digital cathedral. It lets Wikipedia page for Austin Petersen. Look it up. If you know anything about Wikipedia, if you're kind of a wiki expert, go and take a look at some of the edit war. And there was a huge fight, and I don't think it exists publicly anymore, but there was a huge fight, of course, with people who were trying to take down my Wikipedia page to say that Austin was irrelevant. Ouch. I had to watch people debating whether or not I deserve to exist for future civilizations to look back in the archives. I think so, baby. Yeah. Talk about an examine life. So pull up my Wikipedia page and take a look at it if you're into Wikipedia. And look, just note, like, the way that they phrase things or word things, it's always very, very sly. Some good news. The government shut down paycheck meltdown. This is juicy, man. The White House said that furloughed federal workers aren't guaranteed back pay after the shutdown. Washington bureaucrats might have to live like the rest of us. Oh, yeah. Can you imagine? So Washington bureaucrats might have to live like the rest of us. What do we say to these government workers? Welcome to the gig economy, Karen. There you go. So we're going to talk about all the political theater around this, the constitutional implications, why this shutdown may be the best thing that's happened to small government since Calvin Coolidge took a nap. Is Trump playing 4D chess? Question for the audience. Or is he playing 4D chess with this? Or is he just shaking the vending machine of the deep state to see what falls out? We're going to get into all of it. Judge Napolitano joins us to break down. A federal judge just blocked Nassau County's policy banning biological males from competing in women's sports. We're going to talk about Title IX, federalism, natural rights, and whether or not reality itself is now considered unconstitutional. The Democrat says, "You're living in the real world. It's thought crime. Now bow to Allah. Allahu Akbar." And then they burn the American flag. Judge Knapp's not pulling punches. Neither will I. And we're launching a movement. Guys, we're launching a movement. It's a new movement. Let the old things be old. Let the new things be new. This bitch, I'm 44 years old. I've been waiting for a long time, boomers. It's time for a new movement. Last segment of the show today, after the judge, I'm taking the gloves off. For the first time publicly, I'm laying out the foundation for what I'm calling my Libertarian Nationalist Manifesto, a revised and updated 2025 version. If you want, I'll get you a copy with a leather cover, but it's going to cost you. This is the spark, guys. 10 ways to save Western civilization. 10 ways to save Western civilization with this one weird trick. You didn't think I was going to go there, huh? Of course you do. You know AP. Speaking of, visit the For Liberty shop. It's called the Grift Shop, but not because it's grifty. It's good, and you can save good money over there on your Halloween costume. Why not grab yourself a sweet, sweet No Lives Matter shirt? Make everybody mad. Jews, Muslims, Christians, atheists. No lives matter. Yeah. Right? I know, that's from Psycho. Not Halloween. Get 15% off the Halloween collection today, guys. And you can do it at the Grift Shop. This says forlibertyshop.com. I think I need to get like some like evil, like maybe some socialist looking things or some kind of April Foolsy pranky kind of shirt that says thegriftshop.com, because you can go to thegriftshop.com. It'll take you to For Liberty Shop. Look at this beautiful Adidas polo I'm wearing. I'm too sexy for this shirt, but it's a pretty sexy shirt, which means I'm very sexy. But welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm Austin Petersen. Karate Sensei. Oh, that's right. It's Wednesday. It's fight night tonight. Damn, we're going to have a good day. I'm going to work my ass off today. But at 10 o'clock tonight, for those who know, not to pat myself in the back, at 10 o'clock tonight, I will have sweat burning. Salt will be accumulating like Lot's wife in the corner of my eye tonight at like 10 p.m. when I'm writing this show for you tomorrow morning after I get out from teaching 2 back-to-back classes, Karate Kid night. Join us if you're ever in Central Missouri on Wednesday nights, because we have an absolute blast. If you want me to beat you up, punch you in the face, and make you call me sensei. No shit. I am a karate sensei, and I would love to meet some of you guys. And if you like a good workout, then Wednesday nights. So, 10 ways to save Western civilization. 10 ways to turn liberty into something meaningful. And this is the beginning of something big, right? Because I think that there's an appetite for this. I'm going to give you guys a taste of what's to come when I take the stage in Colorado. So if you want a sneak preview of my speech and what I'm going to be talking about today, you have got to stick around to the end of the show in order to hear the sneak preview of my speech in Colorado. That's going to be more extended and in more greater detail. But if you're a super fan, then, and I know we've got a few, join the cult. The cult of people who don't like cults. Then you guys want to stick around for the part after Judge Napolitano. But how are we going to get to Judge Napolitano, baby? We're going to talk about Wokepedia. We're going to talk about the government shutdown. We're going to have a fantastic conversation for the rest of this hour, so for the next 45 minutes or so until we get to the judge, and then things are just only going to get more exciting from there. So stick a pin in us. If you're busy this morning for the next 90 minutes or so, I get it. Just pull up your mobile phone if you need to and put it on the background, put a Bluetooth speaker in your ear, and tune in to all the fun and the hijinks. We're not any show. We're pineapples, okay? No breakfast theater this morning, so don't be too disappointed, guys. We're still serving up pipe and hop truth every half hour. If you want to support the show today, anyway, we do have a mini documentary if we raise $75. And if we hit $75 instead of watching commercials, then I want you guys to donate Rumble Rants or go to the Grift Shop. Save a little money in your Halloween costume and get that sweet discount if you use code GOTH15. And if those purchases do count for the bonus content. So if you want to hit that unlock, then keep those Rumble Rants flowing today or make purchases at the Grift Shop, and we'll let you know when we hit $75. But there's no $100 bonus content today, guys. We haven't hit it for the last couple of days, and it is a lot of work to make that happen. So I'm going to take a little break from the phase 2 of the bonus content, but it's not going away. So, or maybe it is going away. We'll see. Every generation has its empire that tries to decide what the truth is. The British had their crown. The Soviets had Pravda. And we have Wikipedia. That's our official government lies. The free encyclopedia, the people's encyclopedia, they've called it, right? This is the supposedly neutral catalog of human knowledge that has more power to shape what people believe than CNN, for sure, because a lot fewer people are listening to CNN than reading Wikipedia. CNN, Fox News, you could put CNN, Fox News, and the New York Times, Washington Post. You could put all the major periodicals of the world together, and none of them would approach the size, the scope of Wikipedia. It's the first result on every search engine. It's the foundation of every AI model. It's the silent teacher that is whispering in the world's ear. And lately, it's been caught in the same storm as everything else in American life, which is the war to define reality. Wikipedia claims to be neutral, but anyone who's ever tried to edit it knows that neutrality means nothing to the establishment. The establishment is not neutral. The establishment has picked a side. That's why Elon Musk is calling it Wokepedia. That's why Tucker Carlson says it's an emergency, that Wikipedia is completely dishonest. And that's why Larry Sanger, the man who actually co-founded the thing, left it, saying conservatives and libertarians who founded it were being pushed out by an army of ideological editors. They created a monster and they couldn't control it. I always say anything not explicitly right-wing will eventually become left-wing, and that appears to be holding true, sadly, in this case. The free encyclopedia, they call it. Now, I could tell you all this as a detached observer. I could, but I actually come to this discussion with skin in the game. I've been on the inside of that fight myself. Well, I should say not on the inside, but like slightly on the outside, and watching people tear your personal life and your details apart. Mind you, I am a public figure, and therefore I do open myself up to criticism, which I absolutely respect. I'm smart enough to know to ask my wife what my blind spots are. I'm not stupid. Honey, what are my weaknesses? Oh, they'll tell you, gentlemen. But it's good. It's good. And, everybody is subject to criticism, and everyone has faults, and nobody gets out of life alive. But if you step into the arena, you should expect the cuts, the nicks, the bruises, the bumps, and the broken arms. So John Stossel did a report on this of Wikipedia's bias. We'll sort of go back and forth on this one to share.
How do you do that? Wikipedia gives you a place to put it all together.
But lately, he too noticed the bias.
Wikipedia does a great job on things like science and sports and older history, but you really see a lot of political bias when you're talking about current events.
This laptop that intelligence officials have warned is likely Russian disinformation.
Just up until a few days ago, if you typed in Hunter Biden email controversy, it would redirect you to an article about the Biden-Ukraine conspiracy theory.
Shortly before the last election, the New York Post reported that emails on Hunter Biden's laptop suggest corruption. But left-leaning media dismissed that as Russian disinformation. Most refused to even investigate.
Start doing that verification.
No, we're not going to do your work for you.
But now, even left-leaning media vouch for the emails.
A lot of what was on that laptop is true.
It took the New York Times more than a year to say that, but it took Wikipedia even longer. Why so slow?
There's a pretty strong left bias on Wikipedia. People on the left far outweigh people in the center and the right, and people on the left tend to get a lot more protection from administrators.
The administrators are special editors who've been given the power to overrule other editors and make final decisions.
You would hope that these people would be some of the most principled, impartial people, but there's a lot of people who are pretty left, even openly socialist and Marxist.
Some administrators proudly advertise that they're socialists, and they post pictures of Che and Lenin on their own profiles.
And these are the people who decide which sources are acceptable on Wikipedia. And they're pretty restrictive on the right, much more lenient on the left.
They sure are. Wikipedia's reliable sources page includes CNN and MSNBC. But political reporting by Fox is not called reliable. And neither is the Federalist, the Daily Caller, the Daily Wire, and the New York Post, which is probably why they got this story wrong. Maybe Wikipedia's editors just have unusually high standards. Only perfectly neutral outlets can be used. But no, not only do they call CNN and MSNBC reliable, Wikipedia also deems Fox, Slate, The Nation, Mother Jones, and Jacobin reliable. Jacobin describes itself as offering socialist perspectives. I mean, these are ultra-leftist sites.
Yeah, so those things are totally acceptable, but things like Fox News and the New York Post basically can't be used.
What's your political bias?
I'm a centrist. I've never really strongly identified with either political party.
Weiss is no conservative. In presidential races, he's voted for Gore, Nader, and Obama. Never for a Republican.
Voted for
but
Ralph
he still
freaking
objects to
Nader. What's wrong with people? Ralph Nader? So for years, my own Wikipedia page has been a little civil war. It's kind of like the Battle of Bunker Hill, but the musket balls are hyperlinks and the soldiers are anonymous editors with too much free time. You can smell the Tylenol on these people through the screen. So when I ran for president back in 2016, somebody nominated my page for a Did You Know feature on the Wikipedia homepage. The line they wrote was, and I quote, this is real, "Did you know failed presidential candidate Austin Petersen is currently couch surfing?" So, did you know? Very important part of Austin Petersen's life. That was the thing that they found most interesting. Not the ideas, not the campaign, not the movement, but whether or not I had a couch. Did Austin... I'm pretty sure I've had a chain of ownership of couches. I'm pretty sure. I've always had a couch to surf on. Have you ever gone couch surfing? It can be fun. $25 raised towards the bonus content, says BB for Liberty. Thanks for keeping an eye on things, Brad. Appreciate you, bud. Paycheck incoming. Another editor eventually shot this down. So this was the thing that they found most interesting. Not the ideas, again, guys. They wanted to know if I was couch surfing. This is real. Another editor eventually shot it down for addition to my Wikipedia page. And when it's on there, guys, it's on there. And if you want to try and get something off, it's not fun. It's not pretty, right? And guess what? You don't know anybody who's allowed to edit it. So guess what? You're not allowed. You're not going to do it. And you try and make a change? No, they're going to track you down. They are vicious. The left is savage with how they use Wikipedia. Every change, every paragraph of my Wikipedia page, every adjective has been a tug of war. 1 week I'm a libertarian activist. The next I'm a controversial right-wing pundit. One anonymous user deletes half a paragraph because it's too ideological. Another inserts a line implying I failed at something. Thormock says, I don't know if I'd call it surfing, but I've done things on couches.
No, God! No! God, please,
Excuse
no,
me.
no.
If you try to correct it, if it's like a straight up fact and you have a source, like even a verified first party source, if you try and correct it, you can't even correct it, even if you use their sources, because they'll say that your correction, it's a conflict of interest. So you can't be trusted to tell the truth about your own life, but they can because they're anonymous and they're neutral. It's like the DMV insisting that they're creative artists. This is like an absurdity. This is revealing too, because what's happening on my page is just a small reflection of what's happening everywhere. Wikipedia's great claim for this website is that it enforces a neutral point of view. They say every statement must be verifiable and drawn from, quote, reliable sources. Now, who falls for those kinds of sentences? People middle school level, maybe, perhaps, or below. High schoolers starting to question things, probably not going to fall for that kind of BS. Or maybe some will, maybe lots will, and they eventually become Democrats. Sad. Sad. Babies, don't let your babies grow up to be babies. I don't know, grow up Democrats. Neutrality on Wikipedia. So they ban Breitbart, they ban Project Veritas, they'll flag Reason or The Federalist as unreliable. Mother Jones, fine. I mean, the most hardcore leftist activist news site, Mother Jones, totally fine. CNN, that's the gold standard over there. You got a CNN article, boom, you got it approved. BuzzFeed, yeah, you know, the people who gave us the cat quizzes and the Steele dossier, completely trustworthy. That's the neutrality that Wikipedia has. So it's kind of a funhouse mirror version of objectivity where the political spectrum runs from center left to far left, and anything else is a fringe view. So fringe views not allowed. Fox News, fringe view. Mother Jones, The Nation, or Jacobin Magazine, they're all considered objective news sources able to be used on websites like Wikipedia. Wikipedia is the backbone of modern information. Like it or not, it feeds AI. If you're wondering why you get weird lefty sounding results from your LLMs, then that's why. It's pulling it from Wikipedia as if it's a proper source. I write this show. I put together segments. I'm researching facts. I pull it out of my LLM, and I find that it more often than not is going to take a leftist view of it, or it just shuts down. I can't tell you how often my large language model, my very large language model, Austin, stop, is shutting me down, telling me I can't make something, telling me I can't do something. I wouldn't be surprised if I was one of the most, and I always have been, one of the most suppressed and censored voices on the internet. And why? I mean, I guess I understand why. But like, I'm a normie compared to so many radical ideologue psychopaths that I've run across. But it's funny because I feel like the establishment sort of likes the lunatics and the psychos, especially on the right. They want to paint the weirdest and craziest of us. Say what you will about Bill Buckley, but he put the crazies where they belonged, in the back rooms licking stamps, while the serious people had serious conversations about serious subjects. Like neutrality on the world's encyclopedia. This is the war for your minds. This is the front line of the information war. It's not a coincidence that Wikipedia now ranks at one of the top 10 most visited websites on Earth. 18 billion page views a month. Houston, we have a problem. And it runs on more than $200 million in donations a year, Much of it from big tech companies like Google and Bill Gates Foundation. Oh. So how is that grassroots exactly? I'm struggling to understand.
Wikipedia's new bias. For example, on these socialism and communism pages, for years there was no mention of the millions killed by socialism and communism. None. And even now,
deep in the article, it's kind of treated as something of an arcane academic debate, but we're talking about mass murder.
Wikipedia even added, we cannot ignore the lives saved by communist modernization.
You'll get kind of rose-colored discussions about how poverty improved under communism.
Poverty was improved? Communism collapsed because of its poverty. Here's another bizarre example of bias. Under concentration and internment camps, Wikipedia includes migrants at the Mexico-U.S. border.
Yeah, alongside other things, including the Holocaust.
Why are border facilities on the same page as the Holocaust?
It's very different to go out and round up millions of your own citizens to even commit mass murder against them, as opposed to policing a border and detaining people who have crossed that border illegally.
How can you work for an organization that does this?
So most of the stuff I work on, college sports in particular, isn't really affected by this stuff, but it can be pretty disheartening to see just a couple clicks away, you can get into content that's very manipulative and biased.
Can we fix these errors? Wikipedia says anyone can edit. But is that true? Weiss was bothered that Wikipedia's description of the Antifa movement minimizes its violence.
It introduces it as just a left-wing movement, and I made an edit to suggest that it's really a far-left movement.
Within 3 minutes, someone deleted the word far.
Within 3 minutes.
In principle, anyone can edit, but you'll find your edits being reverted pretty quickly.
Let me try one. On that concentration camp page, Wikipedia focuses only on Donald Trump. I'll add to that. President Barack Obama built these cages. There, that's fixed. But within a day, my edit was taken down.
Oh.
That's disturbing.
Yeah.
Wikipedia founder Wales says he's a fan of my videos. You and I are small L libertarians, he wrote me. And
Hell
when I
yeah.
asked him about his co-founder's
Small L.
complaint,
It's important to note that he said small L. Every era has its gatekeepers. The medieval church had its index of forbidden books. The British Crown licensed presses so it could decide which pamphlets the peasants were allowed to read. The Soviets called censorship scientific socialism. Our modern leftist priesthood calls it fact-checking. Different robes, same religion. They all worship the same God, control. Now, I'm not saying that every Wikipedia editor is like a villain, or right, twirling a mustache. I'm not saying many of them are probably, decent nerds. There are probably some good ones that maybe there are some people there who are helping civilization, and bless them. But the system that they serve, the underlying system itself, is built on a lie that you can achieve truth through bureaucratic consensus. You can't. Truth isn't a committee decision. You don't get to vote on it. It's a discovery, and it takes competition to determine it. Ah, yes. Ideas have to compete, not be ruled by a committee. Truth is not a committee decision. That's what the founders of this country understood. They didn't want one official source of news. They wanted a marketplace of ideas. Jefferson printed his rivals' pamphlets. Franklin mocked the government in newspapers. Madison wrote essays under fake names. They trusted free argument more than enforced harmony. Wikipedia has inverted that principle. It treats harmony as virtue and disagreement as sin. And now that false harmony is being exported straight into the code of artificial intelligence, or I guess now we can consider them our new mechanical oracles. So along comes Elon Musk. He's been saying what everybody's been saying for years. Wikipedia is a propaganda farm for the global progressive class. He offered them $1 billion if they'd rename themselves Dickipedia. I know that this show is funny, but it's also true. Facts can be funny things, can't they? So should Musk make a Clickopedia or Quickopedia? Quick knowledge is the click of a key. I think Dickopedia was the right move. It's going to be like Grokkopedia. Bet. So it hit home when Elon Musk said that, because anybody who deals in information or is trying to get reliable information, or if you're like me and every once in a while you want to like dive deep into why the recipe that this emperor made, led to the Battle of Agincourt or some shit, you're going to read Wikipedia for a few minutes because you only got a few minutes. And then, if you're savvy, you'll note the leftist bias inherent in, the recipe used cumin, and, some socialist author was like, no, it was sage. It was oregano. And you're like, no, die. No, they probably don't fight over those kinds of things. Soy sauce, yes. Soy sauce or die. Cake or death. The White House has already been sending letters asking about Wikipedia's nonprofit status. Congress has started investigating whether activists are manipulating its pages to shape opinions before elections. And suddenly the encyclopedia that was supposed to democratize knowledge has become a political weapon in the culture war. So back on my own page, the battles, they never stop. Can you imagine? It's honestly, I have to do to my Wikipedia page the same thing that I do with a lot of stuff. I said the comments underneath my Instagram post these days since the Jew blow up. I just don't read the comments. I just say what I believe, and I'm just like, say what do you want to say? I just these days I really only try and engage with people who who are arguing in good faith. Otherwise, I just sneer. So a few weeks ago, somebody tried to add a line describing my network's work in film and in broadcasting. Another user immediately deleted it as unnoteworthy. Then they'll leave paragraphs about minor controversies or old quotes, because negativity is encyclopedic and achievement is promotional. If someone says you're couch surfing, that's news. If you were building a For Liberty network at forlibertynetwork.com, that's not interesting. I'm not interested in hearing him accomplish anything. I want to know how he lost and how he had a couch surf and how everybody wanted to have sex with him. No, wait. No, probably not. Well, maybe. Some of them might want me. Isn't that the AOC way to do things now? My critics, they just want to sleep with me. It's okay, baby. It's okay to want me, but you can't have me because I'm with Mrs. P for Liberty. That's Steffi. My only wife. My wifey. I'm not like some, and I got two wives like Devin Erickson. Whoa. Oh. CO Day says, I can tell you it's not. Frickety says, what do you expect? Wikipedia is free, just like how the commies like it. It ain't free. Who funds Wikipedia is the question. Yeah, no, Frickety. I just said that a couple of minutes ago that Bill Gates funds Wikipedia. You think Bill Gates has your best interest at heart? Conservatives, libertarians, libertarian nationalists, right? Multiple wives equals multiple problems. Yes, exactly. You got 99 wives, you got more than 99 problems, that's for sure. The saddest part about this is most people, they don't notice. If they're not watching the Wake Up America show in the mornings, they don't know about all the liberal bias that's out there in the United States. They don't know about what Antifa is. Most people don't have a clue what Antifa is. Most people don't know what Antifa exists. They don't know what the threats are. There are so many wolves, but there are way more sheep in this society. Judge Napolitano, the author of the book Nation of Sheep, will be joining us at 8 a.m. Central Time. We're going to talk about that very concept. We're going to talk about a nation of sheep, but we really, you know what I've noticed about that? I think the Tucker Carlson Candace Owens controversy has really brought this to a head. Some people really just don't know between right and wrong. Isn't that just it? Some people really, they don't understand right from wrong. I think that the Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson's scandals of late are a really good sign that our country has no strong moral compass. It is a rare thing for someone to have a moral compass. As rare as it is amongst my people to pair accordant rights and responsibilities that come with those rights. We're going to talk about my libertarian nationalist movement, 10 ways to save Western civilization, with this one weird trick. That preview is coming up. But in terms of who's actually awake, who's actually aware of the threats to our lives, our liberties, our properties, very few people really pointing fingers at the true wolves of society. There are some good ones out there. There are some very good people out there who are watching the pack. There are some strong, patriotic Americans who, to some extent, have dedicated a portion of their lives. I know a lot of full-time freedom fighters out there. Can we give it up for the freedom fighters? I talk to people sometimes, especially, man, the critics. You know, I talked to somebody yesterday. He's like, Austin, he's disagreeing with me on this concept of one another. And it's like, he's being just really pedantic about it and stuff. And I'm trying to humor him out of because he came in good. He argues in good faith. So we're having a disagreement or a debate. And, he's criticizing this and all these kinds of things. I'm like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing in your community to make that happen? Just talking to people. That's it, right? Well, Austin, I mean, like, not to pat myself in the back or anything like that, but I'm doing a sure hell of a lot more than just sitting behind a desk talking. I'm a full-time freedom fighter, man. And I'm not associated with any think tank or entity. I'm a mercenary. You understand, right? I'm a soldier of fortune for liberty. I'm like Jack Sparrow if he was a libertarian. Savvy? It's the hardest job in the world, man. You want to be a mercenary, a free market mercenary for capitalism. You realize those capitalists out there building, they don't give a shit about ideas. They're not trying to guard the flock. They don't care. They know the wolves are out there, and they'll, I know a few of these guys, they'll have a drink with you on a Friday evening in Manhattan, $25 martini, and they'll say, oh yeah, Austin, all these bad Democrats are all doing all this kind of stuff. I'm like, what are you doing to fight back? Not really nothing. I'm terrified. I know so many guy friends who are terrified of their workplaces. I know so many guy friends are terrified of their workplaces. They can't say shit. They're cowed into silence by their paychecks. I'm free as a bird, baby. Won't you fly, free bird? Yeah. I've got to be, man. I've got to be free. I've got to be me. I've got to have freedom. And I'll fight to defend your freedom. I hope you'll fight to defend mine. Wow. Somebody went to the shop, perhaps, with $74 raised towards the bonus content. Hey, guys, that's awesome. We didn't unlock it yesterday, so I was like, I took a break because I'm always like, Brad knows this. I'm like the hamster on the proverbial wheel, spinning, always. So when we didn't raise it for a couple of days, I was like, all right, I'm just going to take a breather. For the rest of the week, I won't have a phase 2 of bonus content, but don't worry, we're cooking up some exciting stuff for you guys today. I don't want to drain your bank accounts too much. Go into debt if you have to. No, just kidding. But do support my cause. I am a mercenary. You are my number one avenue to success. If I succeed, it's going to be on the Wake Up America show because it feeds everything that we do. And the network is nascent. It is growing. But I really think that we are reaching soon an inflection point. We've got a lot of hockey sticks. Brad and I, we look at the analytics on the network. We look at the socials, the analytics. Stephanie and I would do the books and the revenue. She's doing a fantastic job with the QuickBooks, trying to make everything work for us. We've got a baby. We're trying to raise a family. We want another baby. We want to do exciting things in our life, and we want to grow and expand this. Right now, we're small, but we're scrappy. So when you make these contributions to this, the Wake Up America show, there are real lives and real people over here on the other side you're impacting positively with even small contributions. And even if you're just liking and subscribing to the channel and maybe even doing the unthinkable and talking to human beings in real life and saying, hey, you really ought to watch Austin Petersen's show. I kind of like, I feel like I'm a little ahead of the curve, and sometimes that means it's harder to capture an audience for the types of ideas that we have. There's a lot of people who listen to me on radio that don't know I'm doing a morning show on the podcast. Reaching them can be challenging. So will you do me and Stephanie a favor today and little baby Hazel and help build our network and our Freedom Family so that Freedom Family Friday will always be here? Wouldn't you like to see us expand this little enterprise? Only $1 more will save poor Jews in the Holy Land who are Holocaust victims. You're like, oh, I'm definitely not donating now, Austin. The Jews! Why would the Jews do this to me? But yes, please do donate $1 more to unlock that bonus content. And Judge Napolitano will be here in 10 minutes. You'll get to watch the commercials if we don't raise that $1. And you'll get to watch... Andy went and bought some coffee. Thank you, Andy. And you'll get to watch a mini documentary instead of commercials if we raise just literally $1 more in the chat. So who's going to do it? Who's going to drop it? We just crossed 100 live viewers. Thank you, guys. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I don't know if I know 100 people, so some of you guys might be fresh. And if so, you're fresh and clean. Come clean. Introduce yourself in the chat. We'd love to know who you are. I know you're busy. You got stuff going on in schools in the morning. Just drop a chat and say hi and say, hey, you don't have to dox yourself and tell us your real name. But if you've never commented and you watch the Wake Up America show and you're a lurker, just come forward and just say, hey, wave your hands. Drop a little hand in the chat. Say, first-time commenter, long-time listener, or maybe first-time commenter and just joined lately because I like this idea of libertarian nationalism, or maybe I like Judge Napolitano. I like chicken. I like liver. Meow mix, please deliver. And click the like button and support the show. And definitely stick around if we have to do commercials to get the judge on the show. Because we didn't raise $1. I feel like we can raise $1 and then cross the line. And then you can watch the fun little mini documentary before we go to Judge Napolitano. And then afterwards, it's a call to arms, figuratively speaking. Please, FBI, NSA, Fed boys, understand. We're speaking about in Minecraft. A call to arms for libertarian nationalism. No commies, no Nazis, no anarchists, no socialists, no leftists of any kind, but only right-wing libertarian nationalists, American nationalists, constitutionalism, the principles of limited government, the principles of free enterprise, of faith and freedom, the ability to practice, and no to tyrants, no to tyranny, no unwelcome, not welcome anyone who is unable or unwilling to assimilate into these American ideals. Our covenant is the Constitution. We are grateful for all of our supporters like Wyo Wildman and Grizz Cheese and CO Day. Respect for Neo P. Have no idea what that means. Wikipedia is woke. Bad. Judge Napolitano on a court case that we won to fight the transgenderification of our kids. Good. Some bad in the world, some good in the world. I mean, I don't lose sleep over my Wikipedia page anymore. I don't even think about them. Let them fight over adjectives. Let them fight over their own reflections in the mirror of consensus, because history has a funny way of correcting itself and unlocking bonus content. Thank you, Mr. Osborne. So no matter how many editors try and rewrite this, it won't fit neatly into your footnotes. My life is more than a Wikipedia page. I hope that your life will be more than a Wikipedia page. One day you will live a life beyond comprehension of those who do not have the will to stand and fight for what is theirs. And fighting is what you have to do to maintain your freedoms. It's a constant war. It's a war of ideas. I look forward to sharing with you some of my thoughts about libertarian nationalism after Judge Napolitano. We've unlocked the bonus content. That means we will play the bonus content. Let me see how long the bonus content is. I won't know until I play the bonus content, unfortunately, so I'm just going to go ahead and go to it now. Don't be too mad if I have to play like a couple of commercials to stall. I only have Judge Napolitano on for a little shorter time today than normally I would. Then after that, it's the call to arms, the Revolution 3.0. We will be right back. It's the Wake Up America show. And what network is that on? the For Liberty Network at forlibertynetwork.com.
The British government has a very peculiar definition of freedom. In a Sunday interview with the BBC explaining new restrictions on protest, Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood implied that freedom is something the public shouldn't exercise freely if it bothers others. And the sentiment is bipartisan. This is not about a ban. This is about restrictions and conditions, Mahmood said. Just because you have a freedom doesn't mean you have to use it at every moment of every day, she added. She added that police will have to strike a balance between allowing people to protest, which is an ancient freedom in this country, and the rights of the wider community to go about their business free from intimidation and fear. Kemi Badenoch, leader of the opposition Conservative Party, agreed with her rival, telling the BBC in a separate interview that, "We believe in free speech, but that has to be within the bounds of the law. If protests are used to intimidate, to incite hatred, then that is not protest." Last year, the court struck down anti-protest laws passed by a previous Conservative government. Under Mahmood's new protest regulations, police will be able to move, reschedule, or limit the size of protests based on the cumulative disruption caused by similar protests. In other words, if a movement is annoying enough to the powers that be, they can push it off the streets. These restrictions will be enforced under the Public Order Act of 1986, which allows for 6-month jail sentences and/or unlimited fines for violators. The immediate context of the restrictions is an attempt to crack down on pro-Palestinian unrest. The British government designated Palestine Action a terrorist organization in July 2025, after its members vandalized military equipment allegedly destined for the Middle East. Under British law, even expressing verbal support for terrorism is illegal, and hundreds of people have been arrested protesting in favor of Palestine Action. After a deadly stabbing attack on a synagogue last week, Prime Minister Keir Starmer called on protesters to stop in order to respect the grief of British Jews. On Saturday, police arrested 500 people in London for protesting under banners that supported Palestine Action. But the British government has also cracked down on anti-Palestinian speech. For example, police arrested and interrogated Yorkshire man Pete North in late September for sharing a meme several months ago that said, "Fuck Palestine, fuck Hamas, fuck Islam. Want to protest? Fuck off to Muslim country and protest." He was released without charge. That crackdown seems to be a response to race riots in the summer of 2024, sparked by a wave of anti-immigrant sentiment. Starmer blamed social media for the violence. Earlier this year, British police charged anti-immigration activist Tommy Robinson for harassment over his actions during the unrest, and the authorities have gone after causes across the political spectrum. Last year, a British court acquitted schoolteacher Mariha Hussein for racially aggravated public disorder after she was photographed holding up a placard that depicted Conservative Party politicians Suella Braverman and Rishi Sunak as coconuts, meaning that they were brown on the outside and white on the inside. Last month, British police snatched up Irish comedian Graham Linehan at the airport for a post he made about punching trans people in the balls. Last year, a British court convicted anti-abortion activist Adam Smith Connor for silently praying outside a clinic, a case that U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance brought up in a speech attacking the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values. British police arrest an average of 30 people per day for offensive online content, according to data obtained by The Times. Arrests have been rapidly increasing. Police arrested twice as many people over their posts in 2023 than in 2017, even as convictions fall. Although the Progressive Labour Party currently holds power, some dissidents on the left are worried about the speech crackdowns, especially as polls project a blowout for Nigel Farage's right-wing Reform Party in the 2029 election. Street protest that isn't a bit of a nuisance isn't usually effective, but any government seeking to further restrict it should think about new powers in Farage's hands, Labour peer Shami Chakrabarti told The Guardian.
Hey, football fanatics, check out that QR code you see on the screen right there. You guys ready for some prime time NFL action? That crisp Fall air means it's time to tune in to Westwood One for all the gridiron glory you crave. Huh! Jaw-dropping touchdowns, game-changing plays. Don't miss a moment of the excitement. Catch every snap, every tackle, and every victory on Westwood One. Listen to the NFL on the NFL app, on the Westwood One Sports app, on westwoodonesports.com via Westwood One station streams, or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports. If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One. Da-da-dun, da-da-dun. Da-da-dun, da-da-dun. Da-da-dun, da-da-dun. Don't, down. Da-da-dun, 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 da-da-dun. It's still baseball season, says Grizz Cheese. No! Football season. If I'm drinking Oktoberfest, I better see you guys all scrimmaging on the pitch for a little tootly touchdown. Touching each other. It's the Wake Up America show. Go Mariners, says Derek Mollier. Derek, get with the program. It's Westwood One. Ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum. The judge is going to be here in 15 minutes. He's got a really tight schedule today. We're not going to have a lot of time with him, I'm sorry to say. But this just means that we've got 15 minutes for you guys to hear the topic that I had teased out after that. The leverage of the shutdown, the great bureaucratic panic. It's funny how things rhyme. In the first hour, we talked about how the self-appointed priests of information edit what you're allowed to believe. Now we turn to the priests of government, the ones who think they can edit what you're allowed to earn. President Trump is on the hunt, though. He's not letting these Democrats get away with this democratic shutdown.
Their names before, and they're claiming to be leader. The Democrats have no leader. They remind me of Somalia, okay? You know? And I met the president of Somalia. I told him about the problem he's got. I said, you have somebody from Somalia who's telling us how to run our country. She's from Somalia. He said, would you like to take her back? He said, no, I don't want her. Okay, you know who I'm talking about?
Bro! Yes, I know who you're talking about, Mr. President. Why is he so funny? The President of the United States has no business being that funny or that savage, but I'm glad that he's savage because, the funny just it feels like every day we get Donald Trump's bonus content, and you believe, well, it's not free. It's how many trillions of dollars do they spend a year, right? What is it? $37 trillion of debt. It's a very expensive sense of humor our president has.
They have a party that's out of control. They have no leader. Nobody knows who the leader is. I look at people with very low IQs like Crockett, this woman Crockett. I never met her, but she's a low IQ individual. I look at AOC talking about how...
That's the Prime Minister of Canada having to sit there during that roast. He's like, oh, please, God, don't involve me in your domestic politics.
If they want to negotiate, they can come to my office. She's not in that position to do that. And who the hell is she to say that? And then I watch Nancy Pelosi not knowing what to do. I watch their leadership. Look, Schumer is petrified of primary because he's not going to win probably against anybody in a primary. Schumer did the right thing.
Bro, what a roast. That's my president. The White House just dropped a memo, said federal workers might not get back pay when the government shutdown ends. Oh, my God. Oh, excuse me. Oh, my goodness. Excuse me. We got to show my face. For decades, that's been a given. A little safety net for the bureaucracy. You go home, you sit tight, you collect the check later. But now the Office of Management and Budget, the OMB, is saying, hold on. Wait a minute. That 2019 law doesn't actually obligate us to pay you. Yes, Mr. President. Yes. Get him. Get him. Get him. Yes, please. Like the sound that you just heard echoing through Washington, you could hear them. Ricola. This was 1 million bureaucrats gasping at the thought of joining the rest of us in the real economy. A Halloween treat. If only it would actually happen. Crust Fanning says, I always love seeing the visiting dignitary squirm next to Trump. Me as well. Yes, I like the squirming. The president was asked point blank whether furloughed employees would get back pay. He said, I would say it depends on who we're talking about. So some people, he said, really don't deserve to be taken care of. Whoa, brother. Whoa, brother. That is a man. That's you know what that is? That's somebody who has no fear. A man who talks like that in that position, that's a man, for good or for ill sometimes, our balls can get us in trouble, but that's a man who has balls. Russ Vought. This is what Russ Vought is all about.
Thing we know, and you asked Russ Vought about this, was he says that
that's not Russ Vought. Here's Russ Vought.
Yeah, you're going to have to kick over people's paradigms. You're going to have to kick over people's turfs. You're going to have to change people's understanding of things that they have invested their whole life into, a view of the world. Mm-hmm. And none of this is, their views of the world isn't rooted in the Constitution, and in some cases any version of the facts. But that's gonna cause a lot of turmoil within these bureaucracies, and you got to fight through it. And then they're gonna overlay the aspect of, oh my gosh, you guys are racist, and you guys don't care about us as people. You're gonna have to deal with that too, right? They are, one of the arguments that they're using in the press against me right now is they say, he called for trauma within the bureaucracies. Yeah, I called for trauma within the bureaucracies. The bureaucracies hate the American people. Yeah. They want to put a 77-year-old, and did, a 77-year-old Navy veteran in jail for 18 months for building 4 ponds on his ranch to fight wildfires. That's not the Department of Justice. That's the EPA. You go every agency, and it's not just big government, it's weaponized against the country. Yeah, of course. And so, yeah, I would want to provide trauma against that bureaucracy in a way that frees the American people from the people that have assumed the
And you know what somebody said the other day? Like, what air traffic controllers? What about, like, am I going to be able to do this? Yeah, you're going to be able to do all those things. So here's the thing. If you're going to be able to if the TSA is still going to be operational, and all the non-essential employees have been laid off, why were they there in the first place? If you're not needed to do the job, why are you there? Redundancy. There's too much redundancy in the federal workforce. It's time. Can you keep it down? I like him squirming and wriggling and wriggly. I eat feds for breakfast. We all do. It's the Wake Up America show, and Judge Napolitano is going to join us here live in, I think, maybe 10 minutes from now. So we're talking about the shutdown until he gets here. I'll bring him on as soon as he can. We'll have him for a brief little period, and we'll get to talk to him about a couple of legal questions. If you have a question for the judge, you can send us a text at 573-319-1586. The text lines are open. If you have a question about your order at the shop, sometimes people send them there. I'm looking forward to talking to you all about my Libertarian Nationalist Manifesto after the judge is gone, and we're going to have a fantastic end of the show today. Quest Fanning says the TSA is funded through fees on your ticket. No need for that to be a part of a congressional budget. Agreed. That's why Quest and I are buds. The bureaucrats are clutching their pearls today, though. Make no mistake about it. The real estate market in Washington, D.C., ordinarily extremely, insanely difficult market, has lots more openings these days. You can just hear the collective scream as millions of people cried out. Whee! It's like the parasite. I don't think I can make it, but the parasite sound. Whee! It's like the end of The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing, where he finally gets the flamethrower and he torches the thing. It's like that. You love to see it. It's like the brain bug. It's afraid. Nobody's starving, though. You could chop the head off these cockroaches and they're going to live. Many of these are salaried, secure, pension-holding bureaucrats, but this is the first time, I think, in living memory, somebody dared to suggest that a government job is not a sacred entitlement. And God bless Trump for that. You know, people have such Trump derangement syndrome. So call balls and strikes. We would not have seen this with any other presidential candidate in the last 10 years other than Austin Wade Petersen. Just don't read my Wikipedia page. Womp womp. Womp womp. Why a wild man is loving the sound effects. Which ones? The ones on my soundboard or the ones I'm making? You could almost, you guys, if I was still in DC right now, I would just, everybody around me would be suffering and I'd have to be like, oh, you know. And I'd have to do it better than that, Austin. Come on. You could do a better acting job than that and be like, oh, yeah. It's, you know, I mean, have you ever done that? Have you ever had to pretend like you weren't enjoying the hell out of something for whatever reason? You know, maybe your mother-in-law or something like that is around and she's a big Democrat or whatever. And have you ever, you like the good. Have you ever had to be like, oh, that's terrible? And you had to pretend because you have, you know, you can't be truthful 100% of the time because you do, people will murder you. Like Charlie Kirk, obviously. This is the first time in my living memory that somebody in power dared to suggest that a government job is not a sacred entitlement. It's like watching the gods bleed and saying, It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator, and he sees the blood, and he's like, you can bleed, asshole. Or whatever his line was. I need to rewatch Predator, and so do you. Hey, it's Halloween. It's a good time. Political establishment, they're doing their usual dance, right? Republicans say Democrats are to blame for refusing this 7-week stopgap. Democrats say Republicans are to blame for playing games with healthcare subsidies, aka money for illegals. But underneath all of this theater is a much deeper question. Who works for who? Can we get back to first principles? Who works for who? Or maybe is it who works for whom? Who works for whom? Whom or who? If it bleeds, we can kill it. Thank you, decision points. If it bleeds, we can kill it. The gods are bleeding. Which way they go? Let's make a bow and arrow grenade launcher. When a shutdown happens, the rest of America keeps going. What's changed for you? The grocery store's open. The plumbers still answer the calls. The farmer still feeds the country. Only one class of people gets sent home and then demand tribute for the inconvenience of not working. How nice would that? Oh, it's so terrible. Oh, I get to go home. They wiping their tears with $100 bills, our $100 bills. That's only one class of people that get that, and then they demand tribute from us. That tells you who really runs Washington. It's not the politicians that are in charge. It's the bureaucrats. They don't fear the shutdown because they miss their jobs. They fear it because for a moment, people notice that we can live without them. Of course, the headlines are going to scream about the working families that are going to be hurt by these political games. You're going to see tearful interviews on cable news, if you still watch it, of furloughed employees struggling to make rent in Arlington, where the median rent is $2,500 a month, and maybe probably even more than that. It is one of the wealthiest parts of the country. Trust me, I know. I lived there, and it is insane how expensive it is. But, you know, I don't want human beings to suffer. But let's keep perspective. The average federal salary today is $97,000 a year, plus benefits. And the benefits, guys, that's where the real money comes in. The paycheck is one thing, $97,000 a year. And then they go off and they get these pensions. They ride off into the sunset with all of our money. And think about all the times they just got to sit on their asses while we slaved away and worked to build this economy. The small businesses that are keeping America afloat. So, you know, forgive me. I don't want people to suffer, but please forgive me if I don't buy the narrative that Washington's administrative class is one missed paycheck away from destitution. And let's not forget the symbolism, too, in this story. In a country of 333 million people, 2.2 federal employees are temporarily sidelined, and suddenly they're acting like civilization will collapse. Why? Because I seem to remember the mail still arriving, the power still running, the shelves are still stocked. Maybe the lesson isn't that we need to reopen government faster. Maybe it's that we've built a government that's too big to close. Maybe it's time for them to take holidays. Maybe the federal government should recess a little longer. You know what would be a coup in this country? If instead of an August recess, we had a June, July, August, September recess. June, July, August, September. How many months can I fit in there? And just write it in real quick in legalese. June, July, August, September, October. Just maybe what about a 2 month? It would be a coup just to add one more month of recess. Shouldn't we have more? Shouldn't the lawmakers take more time off? Maybe be a little more temporary? I don't know. I'm just floating ideas. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Heart of Erie, first time I've seen you in the chat. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. Said, my boyfriend is still building pump stations to keep coastal cities from drowning. I hope he comes home to you soon, last, with a heart full of love. And thank you for joining the Wake Up America show, Heart of Erie. We're glad to have you here. Grizz Cheese says they can recess until February, neverary. How long will the recess go on? Well, they could last for... How long, I think, is the longest recess? You know what? I need an expert on such things. The legal, the political, the philosophical, the moral, the inimitable. Judge Andrew Napolitano joins us live on the show. We only have him for a brief period, but we're so grateful to have him, if even for a few moments, his wisdom. Judge, nice to see you.
Well, thank you, Austin. Thank you for accommodating my crazy schedule. Every once in a while, I'm pulled in a dozen different directions.
Yeah, no problem, Judge. We've been talking about the shutdown this morning a little bit. Also, just kind of talking about A Nation of Sheep, and who better to discuss that than the author of A Nation of Sheep, Judge Andrew Napolitano, host of Judging Freedom, on the show. Judge, there are very few people who are aware of the wolves, the government wolves, the bureaucratic wolves, some of these, even these big tech overlords, Judge. But the American people have a war declared on them by the bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. that forces us to pay for fishing license regulators on lobster boats that end up as Supreme Court cases, Chevron deferences. Judge, we are always at war to defend our rights in this country, aren't we?
Well, we are, but the problem is so bad, it's so subtle that people don't even realize it. I mean, yesterday, the Senate Judiciary Committee was horrified to learn that the FBI under Jack Smith was acquiring records of their phone calls to the President of the United States. Guess what? They have nobody to blame but themselves, because they enacted legislation that allows the FBI to go around the Fourth Amendment and do that. The only person who was intellectually honest, and I rarely say anything nice about him, and I never say anything nice about him on your show, is Senator Hawley, who has consistently voted against the extensions of the surveillance powers. And of course, he was not in Congress. He was in grade school when this legislation was initially enacted. But the legislation permits FBI agents on their own, using a monstrosity called a national security letter, fancy phrase for an agent writing his own search warrant, to obtain medical, legal, financial, banking records without a search warrant from a judge, without a subpoena from a grand jury. That's what Jack Smith did. It's reprehensible what Smith did. It's profoundly unconstitutional, but it is not unlawful because Congress has made it lawful.
You would think that many of these people should know should have learned the lesson, Judge, that it's dangerous to be right when the government is wrong. You could be.
Well, there you go with another great phrase. It is dangerous to be right when the government is wrong. And everybody on that committee is a lawyer. on the Senate Judiciary Committee, and none of them realized or acknowledged that federal law permits Smith to do what he did. And every one of them could invalidate that federal law. They probably never imagined it would be used on them.
It is difficult to free fools from the chains that they revered. That's why this is a nation of sheep, Judge. You've been talking about it for years, and me following along behind you as a bright young man at Freedom Watch at Fox Business Network, the 2 years that we worked together, some of the greatest years of my life. You called me the right side of your brain, and I've had ideological revolutions and evolutions in my life, but I always come back to first principles, that of individual liberty. Neither party truly cares about individual liberty or protecting your rights. Only the right libertarians, those who believe in constitutionalism, limited government, or hell, Judge, even the anarchists who at least want to leave us alone in this country, the only people who are calling out the balls and strikes when it comes to the questions of our day.
I spoke to a group of wealthy Texans in Dallas over the weekend, along with my friend and colleague who's on my show at 11 o'clock this morning, Colonel Douglas McGregor, and the two of us, we spoke separately, but in the same program. The two of us got the loudest applause when we blasted the Uniparty with its Republican wing and its Democrat wing. It doesn't matter which party controls the Congress or who's in the White House. Presidents kill, wars rage, debt increases, regulation increases, surveillance is extended, no matter who's in power.
It is the tendency of government to grow and liberty to shrink, is it not, Judge?
Yes, that tendency was pointed out close to his deathbed by Thomas Jefferson in one of his great series of letters with his nemesis become friend, John Adams. As most people who studied American history know, they wrote letters to each other from Quincy, Mass. To Charlottesville, Virginia, over a 4 or 5 year period shortly before each of them died. They died within hours of each other on July 4th, 1826. But in those letters, in one of them, Jefferson comments, in the long march of history, government grows and liberty shrinks. Boy, was he ever correct.
Judge, I frequently find myself engaged in philosophical debates with fellow libertarians on the question of anarchism versus minarchism. It's an intrinsic debate that's been going on for decades in the libertarian movement. And I find myself swayed at times by both sides while still feeling that the virtuous side of me, where I say that liberty requires responsibility with it, means that the concept of an anarcho-capitalist utopia is exactly what it is. It doesn't exist. I like the idea of an experimentation. I like the idea that Amish can exist free of income taxes, and perhaps if anarcho-capitalists wanted to create a commune, that could exist. But where do you stand on it, Judge? I know that
I have this, Austin, I have the same continuous, perpetual dichotomy in my own brain that you do. We think so much alike. In my ideal world, there would be no government. But if my neighbor steals my cow and claims it's his, how am I going to get it back without the use of force? So a government to which we have all consented, operating minimally to resolve disputes, is something we haven't had in this country except in the Madisonian days. So that's 1789 up to Woodrow Wilson. After Woodrow Wilson, the government becomes do-gooders and babysitters and bedwetters.
Judge, you can't do that to me. We could talk for hours. I'm so sad that we only have you for a brief time, but we're glad that we got to hear your words of wisdom. James Madison will not be mentioned on many podcasts this morning that are live in the morning. And the audience of people who listen to my show, I'm sure would enjoy yours. Judging Freedom, which you can download on any of your devices. Judge, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience? I know
listen to Colonel McGregor on Judging Freedom today, because he's going to talk about not Israeli preparation for the invasion of Iran, but American preparation for 2 invasions, Iran and Venezuela, neither of which poses a scintilla of threat to the national security of the United States. Austin, thank you very much. I'm sorry it's so brief.
Thank
I'm
you, Judge.
still overjoyed that we think identically.
Yes, we have that same conflict. We're going to expand on that in this discussion for the next half hour. Thank you, Judge.
All the best, my friend.
That's Judge Andrew Napolitano, host of the Judging Freedom podcast. We only had him for a brief show today, but we wanted to have him, and we're glad that we did. If you support the Wake Up America show and our message, then please click the like button and do click the follow button as well. We'd love to have you be a regular guest on the Wake Up America show 5 days a week, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. And the Wake Up America show is a 5-day-a-week phenomenon. We are building a great audience, healthy community. Frankly, we're building a new movement. We're building a liberty nationalist movement. And we're going to talk about that right now. I'm going to give you a sneak preview of a speech that I will be giving this coming October the 18th in Denver, Colorado. And I'm really thankful that I have this morning show audience that I can share with my thoughts before I take them to my to a full-blown speech that I'll be giving next week. So the Libertarian Nationalist Manifesto was an article that I wrote last year in Human Events magazine. And the concept of this was to try and gel the ideas that I had been having based on the politics of the age to try and formulate a concept of liberty that is accessible to people who are politically active, aware, philosophically aware, political philosophy aware, to try and share the ideas that I had addressing the faults of our republic, addressing some of the faults of people who advance the ideas of liberty themselves, and to forge a new path forward for our country to ensure that liberty will still be, sir, a primary object. So there comes a moment, a point in every republic's timeline when speeches stop working, when books aren't enough, when data and facts fall like pebbles off of the armor of people who've made up their minds to submit. And when that moment comes, there are only two kinds of people that are left. There are those who will kneel, the sheep, and there will be those who will stand. I'm talking today specifically to those who stand, because I believe that we are standing on a cliff's edge of Western civilization, not just politically, existentially, spiritually. It's not about partisanship. This is about whether freedom survives the next 100 years. And if we lose this fight, it won't be because the left was too strong. It will be because our side refused to take power. Because we played by rules that no longer exist. Because that we believed naively that truth alone would save us, while the other side built machines. So, I'm done waiting. I'm not asking permission. I'm not raising my hand. I'm standing up and I'm launching a movement, a new liberty movement. And I'm calling it what it is. Libertarian nationalism. Not because I want a bigger state. Because I believe, not because I believe borders over ideas, right? Because I understand something that far too many libertarians have forgotten. If you want to protect freedom, you must take power. The era of toothless libertarianism is over. The era of think tank libertarianism is over. I honor the man. I owe him everything, but ideas alone are not enough anymore. We're not going to read our way out of this. We're not going to meme our way out of this. And we're not going to be able to audit the Fed while drag queens are teaching preschool. It's time to stop thinking like a debating society and start thinking like a sovereign, active people. And we are. And this is what my speech in Colorado is all about. It's the launch pad for a movement that doesn't ask to be heard. It demands to be reckoned with. The foot is jammed in the door, and we start slowly to make our entry, or maybe quickly. 10 ways to save Western civilization. 10 challenges to the false gods of our age. 10 commandments, not of submission, but of rebellion. I'm not giving away all of the speech here this morning. You got to earn the speech, but I'll tell you this. Every one of these 10 principles begins with personal power. We don't need another savior. Not looking for libertarian Jesus here. We need you. It's not about me, and I'm not asking to be your savior. I'm just asking, let me be your spark. Let me light the fire, because no revolution in history ever succeeded by hoping someone else will fix it. That is a lie that we have been sold. Just vote harder, yell louder, write longer essays. The system will come around. Systems don't come around. They collapse. And when they do collapse, the only thing left is the people who were prepared. The people who were prepared for this are the ones who will have initiative. Roll initiative on your 12-sided die. Be prepared to lead. Be prepared to rebuild. Be prepared to live free when the world calls living free too dangerous. Be ready. If you want to save the West, stop asking permission. You want to save the West? Act like you deserve to inherit it, because you do. Civilization was not built by consensus. It was not built by bureaucracies. It was built by force of will, individual force of will. It was built by men and women who did not wait for polls. They didn't wait for approval ratings. They picked up tools. They picked up arms. They picked up truths, and they carried them like torches into the dark. And now it's our turn. What is libertarian nationalism? Libertarian nationalism means that you believe in the sovereignty of the individual and the sovereignty of the nation, not one or the other. You fight for a country that isn't afraid to be a country, borders, culture, history, all of that. You reject globalist technocrats who want to merge you into their algorithmic soup, like the Wikipedia editors would love to do to all of us. You reject authoritarian leftism that weaponizes empathy into control. And yes, you reject the cowardice of libertarians who do think that do nothing and wait is a viable strategy. We're not waiting anymore. We will seize the initiative. 10 ways to save the West. Now, I told you I'm not going to give the whole list away today. That's going to be for Colorado, and I will make every attempt to stream it live to you. I'm going to give the whole list away then. That's where the torch officially gets lit. Gondor calls for aid. I'm going to give you a taste here, though, enough to let you know what's coming. And in the 123 people who are joining me live on rumble.com right now, good morning and thank you. Give yourselves a pat on the back. You're at the start of what I hope will be a new movement. I'm giving you the sneak preview of what you will hear on December 18th if you decide to tune in, or, well, God forbid you show up in person, you Tylenol Americans. Why don't you get in here and get a ticket and come join me? Meet me in person. Smell my pheromones. Check out my nice new suit. So I'll give you a little taste here. One of the 10 ways. So reject consumerism as identity. To some extent, they identify themselves as their brands, he said with an Adidas logo on his sleeve. I typically don't wear brands. I've got my own brand on today. Branding is a part of our life now. But you're more than that. You're more than just a brand. You are not a pronoun. You cannot be reduced to simply your Netflix preferences. You are a soul with a duty to history. Start living like it. Master the physical. Weak men make weak nations. Liberty is a burden. It is not a luxury. If you can't carry weight, you can't carry freedom. Weak men create hard times create hard men create good times create weak men make weak nations. Master the physical, get into shape, build parallel systems. There's a reason why, let me just mention that. There's a reason why working out is now right-wing coded. If you're fat, if you're overweight, and God bless me, I'll show you the side angle. It's not as pretty, but looky there. I'm not in perfect shape. You know, I've got a little bit of a belly here, right? I'm a hypocrite. I need to practice what I preach, but God dang it, I go to that gym 3 times a week. I'm in there. I'm strong as hell, but I like beer. I still like beer. Oh my God, wait until you guys see the freaking later hosen I got there for this year. The hose are going to be later, I'll tell you. Build parallel systems. You don't fix a broken cathedral by kneeling in it. You build a new one next to it. You let the old rot fall. October 18th, when they land, they're going to hit like a thunderclap. My 10 ways to save Western civilization. Not because they're bold. They are bold. It will be a bold speech. But because they're true. I will be issuing a challenge. I will be throwing down the proverbial gauntlet. But I feel like if you don't sometimes take off the glove and slap it across somebody's face, violating the non-aggression principle at the same time, c'est merde. Zut alors, I have missed one. Then it's probably not, you probably don't know that you're in a war. I'm not here to beg. I'm not here to convince haters. I'm here to lead and to find the others who are ready to do the same. I want the strong. I want the smart. I want the brave. I want the ones who feel the fire in their gut and know it's not going away. I want builders. I want battlers. I want believers. If that's not you, that's fine. It's fine. Just step aside. But if it is you, now is the time to show up. Join the Discord, follow the movement, buy the ticket to Colorado, burn the ships. Put yourself on death's ground, and you will fight, and you will win. Burn the boats. A lot of people will not be able to separate the Libertarian Nationalist Manifesto from the party. That's their problem, Camellia. We don't need everybody, and we are not teaching to the D students. I want special forces. I will specifically talk about numbers in Colorado. We will talk about how many people do we really need to start a movement. If we had 10,000 people in our Discord server, we have 100 people, maybe 150 people right now. But if we start getting active and we start promoting it, we get out there, we make the For Liberty Network Discord server alone. If there's 10,000 people, that's a movement. There's 117 people watching me live right now. Those numbers can change dramatically, quickly. We average 117 people, but we can reach more, and we will. And we will. You think that I will have worked my butt off for the last 3 years, built up all of this, and then I'm going to let it go back? Oh, hell no. I'm not even going to go John Galt, baby. I'm standing right here and fighting. Western civilization is not dead, but it is asleep, and it is under attack. We are the alarm clock. You've been told that your whole life power is evil, but the truth is power is only evil in the hands of cowards. It is the gun, the proverbial gun. A gun is neither moral nor immoral. It is only as moral as the person who wields it. In the hands of the righteous, power is a tool of liberation. Lord Acton said that power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. But what about Marcus Aurelius? Wasn't he the exception? And should we not strive to be as great as Marcus Aurelius? And if we cannot be an emperor as was Marcus Aurelius, then can we at least not be Epictetus? If we are slaves, can we be good slaves? Can we be better at what we were the day before? If we cannot change our circumstances, in certain ways. If some things are far above us and are still in the land of the gods, can we at least not worry about them? Can we not complain about them? We cannot change them. Those things that are written, inscribed in stone, we cannot change, we cannot worry, we should not complain, so that we can build a better empire of liberty, as Jefferson had conceived. An empire of liberty. I'd rather be the stones that start an avalanche. Y-O, you are, bud. You are. You're here. Love me a manifesto rooted in Stoicism. Hell yes. Camellia knows what language I'm speaking. I spent all weekend on my mower listening to Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, Friedrich Nietzsche. I'm feeling inspired as hell. That's why I was inspired to rewrite my manifesto to make it timeless. If you have not read the manifesto, please read the manifesto. I shortened it. Now, I'm not saying you guys are D students because I'm sure many of you were not. Or maybe some of you were and you own $1 million businesses, and congratulations, you're smarter than I am. And I got good grades. But it does attempt to make it more accessible. Share it with your friends. Have you ever had a friend who says, God, I hate the both party system. You know, I believe in limited government and, do you have a friend who sounds like they're kind of libertarian, but they think libertarians are kind of weird and gross? And you're like, yeah, I know. I'm the one that you want to take home to mom and to dinner and say, hey, mom, look, it's a libertarian. This is funnier than people, I think, appreciate. I did update the manifesto, Camellia. You can find it over on the blog at the Grift Shop at thegriftshop.com, or just, you see it right there on the little badge on my shield. This is such a beautiful polo. You can get polos like these and other great merch over at forlibertyshop.com. Have you noticed a little nip to the air? Would you like a beautiful embroidered USA champion jacket? I bet you would. Hell yeah. Let's hear it. Libertarian nationalism, build the future. Check it out over on the blog at forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4, libertyshop.com. Building the future, a manifesto for libertarian nationalists. This is the revised edition. The editor's note at the top will explain why I decided to issue a new version, but it is to also announce with gratitude and resolve that the Libertarian Nationalist Movement will officially launch at my speech in Denver, Colorado on October 18th. That's next weekend. It's going to be in Denver. Then join us there on October 18th. Or if you can make it to Denver, do so. Check out the LP of Colorado's website to grab tickets. I'd love to meet you there. I will be the dinner speaker. This is our chance. This is our chance to rebuild liberty from the ashes of failed idealism and to plant it again in the soil of strength, nation, and civilization. What seeds will you plant? Look at the seed I planted. Camellia Petersen in the chat right now. Can everybody give it up for Camellia there? That's a little seed I planted. Just a little seed, and look what it's grown into, this beautiful, lovely lady we have twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. Central on the Wake Up America show. Rooted in Stoicism herself, I might add. Join us here at the For Liberty Network at theforlibertynetwork.com. Join my libertarian nationalist movement. If you are tired of the direction, if you don't want to trans the kids, if you think that anarchy is a utopian idea, if you're looking for the first steps in the path towards a new liberty, I have built the first few steps. The path ahead is treacherous. It is narrow. It is steep. It requires effort. It is not the easy path. It is the path that requires responsibility. It's damn near the path of most resistance. Ask yourself if you are still in shape enough to climb, literally and metaphorically. Will you support the libertarian nationalist movement just by reading a document? Yes. Sharing with your friends? Also yes. Sharing it on your social media? Yes, even better. When you go to the website and you read the blog, A Manifesto for Libertarian Nationalists, you see it here, share, post, email. Those buttons are there for you. Just little sparks. You can be a little spark. You could share it with one person and then 10 people will have read it because you did it. Remember the old chain letters that we used to get in the mail? I actually kind of miss those. Do you remember? Did you ever get one? People used to do chain letters. This is the modern equivalent. And take it from me, if you don't ask, you won't get. If you don't issue a call to action, there will be no action. So that's my call to action. Go to the Grift Shop at forlibertyshop.com. Firmly tongue-in-cheek, I say, the Grift Shop. Head on over to forlibertyshop.com and read the blog, A Manifesto for Libertarian Nationalists, or at least bookmark it and save it. I put a lot of thought into this, and I don't expect this to become a political revolution overnight. Nothing good ever comes easily. The For Liberty Network is awesome now. Stephanie and I are having an absolute blast putting all this content together. We're working on another show. Daniela Pensack from Culturama just signed up for another year. We got the Liberty Tonight boys about to come up for their renewal. I'd just absolutely killed to have Camellia Petersen have her own show, but alas, she's we'll have to enjoy her pineapple-iness from far away. Good news is that Mylene Salavaria will be joining us with her new podcast this fall. It's going to be fantastic. Rare Camellia says, send this to 5 friends or Liberty will die. Do it. Do it. You know what? I'm doing it. I'm not going to dox anybody by opening up my chat client right now, my email client. But I'm actually going to send my manifesto to 5 people today and tell them to send it to 5 friends or Liberty will die. I think I hit the wrong button there. Okay, Mr. President. So do it. Send it to 5 friends, or Liberty might die. Or Liberty might actually die. I know that it sounds hyperbolic, but have you ever looked at the state of Liberty movement and thought it's dying? It is. If we allow things to continue as they are, it will die. If people don't stand up for these ideas, they will die. People say, this is not in accordance with Hayek's principles. I was like, guess what? Improved upon it, bitch. I took the Hayek, I took the Mises, I took the Rothbard, I put it in a jar. I put it in the oven for 3 minutes on 475. I roasted it. And then I put it in a box. What's in the box? It's my gift in a box. It's in a box. It's my gift in a box. It's my manifesto. I won't kill you if you don't read it. Don't worry. This isn't some Luigi Mangione shit. This is, to me, this is the essence of American nationalist. This is the Libertarian Nationalist Manifesto. After my speech, Frickety says, create some Libertarian Nationalist merch. I think Paul Meekin, who's probably listening, might just do that. Paul? I like Art Deco style, by the way. Yeah, for too long, libertarianism is it's this beautiful philosophy that's been stranded in the clouds. It debated purity while losing power. It praised freedom in theory, but it surrendered it in practice. The Libertarian Party became a clown car of fringe radicals and unserious thinkers, mocked even by those who loved it, like me. But the populist side of MAGA, messy, raw, but undeniably patriotic, proved that millions of Americans still crave liberty, even if they don't call it by that name. There are millions of Americans who despise bureaucracy, globalism, the arrogance of Washington. They love free enterprise. They love their small businesses, their car washes, their franchise restaurants. They love the opportunity of America. They love their faith. And they love the flag. And I do too. MAGA revealed to me something that libertarians forgot. This is what I've learned from MAGA. Liberty cannot live without loyalty. A nation that despises itself cannot remain free. A people who are ashamed of their heritage cannot defend their rights, and they will be stricken from the Wikipedia of civilization for sure. The history of the United States is not over. Not with the death of Charlie Kirk. Our history is not over. We are the authors, and MAGA understands this. Libertarian nationalism arises from this realization. It does not reject the populist revolt of Trump or the moral courage of Milei. It completes them. It takes Trump and Milei's energy and weds it to principle, order, and philosophy. We are not anarchists. We are not pacifists. We are not nihilists. We are Americans, and we are libertarians who have learned that liberty without discipline is suicide. It's suicide. What is libertarian nationalism and what is it not? Highly recommend a book by Robert Greene, Laws of War, first chapter in the Rules of War. Know your enemy. Define your enemy. Find your enemy. I'm reading this other book that talks about enemies, and it says, if you don't have some enemies, find some. Squeeze me. But what did Winston Churchill say? Winston Churchill said that you have enemies, good. It means you stood for something once in your life. But why did Robert Greene in the Laws of War write that you choose your enemy? Because people have a hard time defining themselves. First, define perhaps what you are not. What are we not? We're not anarchists. We're not pacifists. We're not nihilists. We are Americans first, and we are libertarians. To know who we are, first say what we are not. Libertarian nationalism rejects the delusion of a stateless utopia. Civilization demands law. Freedom without structure is chaos. The anarchists dream of markets without borders, but without a nation strong enough to defend them, markets burn. We also reject the pacifism that hides behind the non-aggression principle. Then the NAP is a fine moral sentiment, but a terrible governing rule. Nations that refuse to act until attacked soon vanish from the map. Liberty must sometimes strike first to survive. Oops. Freudian slip on the button there. We reject the cultural hedonism that has consumed modern libertarianism, this obsession with fringe causes and moral relativism. A society that cannot tell right from wrong cannot be free. Libertarian nationalism, it stands for order, property, family, merit. It honors the founders who built a republic of laws and the pioneers who expanded it across the continent. It embraces decentralization without surrendering national unity. It loves peace, but we will never, ever kneel before those who despise civilization. You must only kneel. Well, you see, that's going to be a problem. Yeah, I'm going to have to stop with you right there. But rebellion without virtue is decay. We believe in a libertarian nationalist code. These principles, that liberty rooted in moral strength, not indulgence, is the way to best order a society. That civilization means a nation bound by shared ideals, not tribal division. A government that governs least, but defends best. Free enterprise as the lifeblood of human dignity. The Constitution as the covenant of our civilization, borders as the guardians of sovereignty, families as the foundation of liberty, property rights as sacred and enforceable, civilization over barbarism without apology, and leadership through merit, courage, and service. This is not a theory. It is a creed to live by, fight for, and pass on to our children. As I have pledged to the sons of the American Revolution, we descendants of the heroes of the American Revolution, who by their sacrifice established the United States of America, reaffirm our faith in the principles of liberty and our constitutional republic, and solemnly pledge ourselves to defend them against every foe. 1, 2, 3, perhaps even 4 patriots in my family line. You have been told your whole life that power is evil. Power is only evil in the hands of cowards. In the hands of the righteous, power is a tool of liberation. And thank you, Robbie, for your generous donation. Libertarianism, nationalism is not a spectator's philosophy. No couch surfing allowed, for those who remember the Wikipedia joke from earlier. If you've been here the whole time, you get the jokes from earlier in the show. That's why you've got to pay attention. This is not a spectator's philosophy. This is a governing agenda for the restoration of the American Republic. I rededicate my life, my fortune, my sacred honor to these principles, to this philosophy. Here is what we believe of government and law. It is time to sunset outdated federal agencies, return powers to state, require every major regulation to be explicitly authorized by Congress, relocate departments out of Washington, D.C. to break the Beltway monopoly, end civil service tenure that shields incompetence from accountability, audit every federal agency, abolish those failing constitutional review, and that's just getting started, economy and independence, culture and education, immigration and sovereignty, defense and foreign policy. America first, civilization united. And yes, Israel exists. It does. And it's the front line in the fight against barbarism, the most controversial of all the things that I could say as a libertarian. But you're going to get it, and you're going to get it good and hard in Denver, Colorado on the 18th. Miss Steffi Petersen won't even be there, so lucky you. My chickens, I thank you, AP. Oh, St. Selma. Could you give like a chicken just a little hug for me today and say, hey, that's from AP. I love chickens. We don't need a benevolent monarch. We need a benevolent league of citizen leaders. Yes, Quest Fanning says, good show, Austin. Thank you, guys. Thanks for all you do. Thanks for your financial support for the show, guys. It really means a lot. When you exit through the Grift Shop at thegriftshop.com. That's thegriftshop.com. If you do, then make yourself a purchase today, and remember that you are planting seeds. Thomas Paine said, this is the seed time. And I believe it is a seed time again. We call Thomas's painkiller little freedom beans. We should call them freedom seeds. Grab a box of Thomas's painkiller at forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4, libertyshop.com. Check out our founding flavors coffee at forlibertyshop.com. Thomas Paine uses seed time to describe a crucial formative period where actions establish habits for the future. In his pamphlet Common Sense, he declares it as the seed time of continental union, faith, and honor for the American colonies, emphasizing that the actions of the current generation would determine the fate and character of the new nation. He also wrote, youth is the seed time of good habits as well in nations. In Common Sense, he wrote, connecting the concept to both individuals and the nation itself. Be a libertarian nationalist with me today. Go to forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4libertyshop.com. Exit to the gift shop. Thank you for all that you do for our family, and thank you for what you do for liberty itself. God bless America. God bless you and your families and your chickens. St. Selma, we'll see you guys. Today's Wednesday. I guess that means, oh yeah, freedom tonight. And it's fight night. Right after karate gets out, what are we doing? We're watching Liberty Tonight on the For Liberty Network at rumble.com/Liberty Tonight. Give them a follow. That's another way to help support the libertarian nationalist movement. And we'll see you guys here, at least, tomorrow on the Wake Up America show. And what's that on? The For Liberty Network. Tell a friend. Like, share, or Liberty will die. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.
British government has a very peculiar definition of freedom. In a Sunday interview with the BBC explaining new restrictions on protest, Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood implied that freedom is something the public shouldn't exercise freely if it bothers others. And the sentiment is bipartisan. This is not about a ban. This is about restrictions and conditions, Mahmood said. Just because you have a freedom doesn't mean you have to use it at every moment of every day, she added. She added that police will have to strike a balance between allowing people to protest, which is an ancient freedom in this country, and the rights of the wider community to go about their business free from intimidation and fear. Kemi Badenoch, leader of the opposition Conservative Party, agreed with her rival, telling the BBC in a separate interview that, "We believe in free speech, but that has to be within the bounds of the law. If protests are used to intimidate, to incite hatred, then that is not protest." Last year, the court struck down anti-protest laws passed by a previous Conservative government. Under Mahmood's new protest regulations, police will be able to move, reschedule, or limit the size of protests based on the cumulative disruption caused by similar protests. In other words, if a movement is annoying enough to the powers that be, they can push it off the streets. These restrictions will be enforced under the Public Order Act of 1986, which allows for 6-month jail sentences and/or unlimited fines for violators. The immediate context of the restrictions is an attempt to crack down on pro-Palestinian unrest. The British government designated Palestine Action a terrorist organization in July 2025, after its members vandalized military equipment allegedly destined for the Middle East. Under British law, even expressing verbal support for terrorism is illegal, and hundreds of people have been arrested protesting in favor of Palestine Action. After a deadly stabbing attack on a synagogue last week, Prime Minister Keir Starmer called on protesters to stop in order to respect the grief of British Jews. On Saturday, police arrested 500 people in London for protesting under banners that supported Palestine Action. But the British government has also cracked down on anti-Palestinian speech. For example, police arrested and interrogated Yorkshire man Pete North in late September for sharing a meme several months ago that said, "Fuck Palestine, fuck Hamas, fuck Islam. Want to protest? Fuck off to Muslim country and protest." He was released without charge. That crackdown seems to be a response to race riots in the summer of 2024, sparked by a wave of anti-immigrant sentiment. Starmer blamed social media for the violence. Earlier this year, British police charged anti-immigration activist Tommy Robinson for harassment over his actions during the unrest, and the authorities have gone after causes across the political spectrum. Last year, a British court acquitted schoolteacher Mariha Hussein for racially aggravated public disorder after she was photographed holding up a placard that depicted Conservative Party politicians Suella Braverman and Rishi Sunak as coconuts, meaning that they were brown on the outside and white on the inside. Last month, British police snatched up Irish comedian Graham Linehan at the airport for a post he made about punching trans people in the balls. Last year, a British court convicted anti-abortion activist Adam Smith Connor for silently praying outside a clinic, a case that U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance brought up in a speech attacking the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values. British police arrest an average of 30 people per day for offensive online content, according to data obtained by The Times. Arrests have been rapidly increasing. Police arrested twice as many people over their posts in 2023 than in 2017, even as convictions fall. Although the Progressive Labour Party currently holds power, some dissidents on the left are worried about the speech crackdowns, especially as polls project a blowout for Nigel Farage's right-wing Reform Party in the 2029 election. Street protest that isn't a bit of a nuisance isn't usually effective, but any government seeking to further restrict it should think about new powers in Farage's hands, Labour peer Shami Chakrabarti told The Guardian.